Hello, welcome to Simon's Trading Channel. You all know what my name is by now, so I'm just going to dive straight into my daily Bitcoin price action analysis. And I've got an interesting chart to show you this evening. It's quite a late video for me. Had a bit of a busy day, and then I went into some sort of charting void. But yes, I am addicted to looking at charts. I should probably go to some sort of rehab group for chart addicts, but as vices go, I think you can have worse. Anyway, before I get straight into the price action, just want to remind you this is not financial advice. I also want to say happy birthday, Hugo. My son is 6 today. I love you very much, and I'm very proud of you. He doesn't watch the channel, obviously, but maybe in the future he will. So happy birthday, Hughes. So this is a weekly chart, okay? And you might be looking at it thinking, yeah, but Simon, it's ancient history. What's your point? Well, my point is about to be declared. Now, all I did to produce these, what don't appear to be random green lines, because when you look at them, they seem to make sense in a support resistance manner. And, well, they do, indeed. So, I mean, I'm sure I don't need to point this out, but this is resistance, all-time high. This is support, bottom of the current range. This is resistance, where price was underneath for 8 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks. This is resistance that price hit up against several times, but on too high. With two sort of highs on a weekly, and then this is support, which effectively was the bottom of the current bull run and the current macro low. So they seem like significant areas to me, but very interestingly, and you have to remember one thing when you do this. So if you do this on a chart, you got to go to your setting and make sure you've ticked regular. Do not tick logarithmic or any of the others. It's got to be on regular. And what that does is it has regular divisions then on the price on the x-axis, rather than logarithmic when it all goes a bit weird. But sometimes it's not easy to tell, so make sure it's on regular on the x-axis. Anyway, what I did then was I just picked out the high, and this works best on the weekly chart, and I moved all the way down to the low. So that, this is a bit of a sort of Fibonacci retracement or whatever, but I'm specifically looking for a 50%. Now the 50%, as you can see, is right there. So I drew a line in there. And then I just did the same thing. I just divided this half into halves, and this half into halves, and you have yourself a chart. Now, I still hear you saying, well, what's the point in that? Well, the interesting thing is that from the bottom, if we I'm just rounding all of the figures, so just call it 15,000. I know it's more like 16, but just 15,000. If you add 15,000 to 15,000, you get 30, which is where that line is, more or less. If you add 15,000 to that, you get 45. That's where that was. And if you add 15,000 to that, you get 60. And if you add 15,000 to that, okay, you get 75. All right, yeah, didn't quite get that. 74. So I'm going to make another prophecy. I already made one, which looks like it might turn out to be true. Although I think it may end up being an underestimate. I said it's likely to go sideways for 8 weeks in this range. Well, it's coming up for 7 now. And I don't think it's going to break out next week. So, well, maybe it will. But anyway, yeah, that's one prediction. That what I should have said was at least 8 weeks when I recorded the video many weeks ago. But I didn't. I said 8 weeks. So there you go. So my next prediction is, if this bull run continues, which, I mean, there's not a lot of evidence on this weekly chart to suggest anything other than that, I think a next potential local high for Bitcoin is 90,000. So that's the reason I put this chart up. That's the reason I put this chart up. You're probably all thinking, why is it going on at 90,000 when like the last 4 weeks has been down? Well, I'll come on to that. So yeah, 15,000 above 75,000 is of course 90,000. All right, so that's where I got it from. Excuse me. Whoa. And okay, so that's enough of that. That's enough of that, Simon. Get on with the more juicy stuff. I'm probably well into this video, 5.5 minutes. Oh, that reminds me. If you like this sort of stuff and you like me talking about things like this, then please like and subscribe. There is more to come though, so do hang about. Zooming down to the 4 hour, so from the weekly to the 4 hour, the range is still there with the bottom at 59, 60,000 and the top at 74,000. And the midpoint is still the same. It's around 66,000, roughly 66, 67. Yes, so there's a move up, and this pullback is starting to look a bit more like a trending downside move to me, but on the lower time frames. So if I switch right down to the 15-minute time frame, you can see this move. And I talked about this in the last couple of days, but you can just, whoa. I mean, you can try selecting the right piece of equipment first, Simon, which be that one. And then you can draw some sort of trend line coming down. Clearly, the trend line coming down, all it does is represent in a visual way a downtrend, which is lower highs and lower lows. And yeah, that's what's going on. And then also along that front, if I check in on my momentum, my own personal momentum off my own personal momentumosity, which I was struggling to say in a hurried manner, we can see something potentially brewing. Okay, so the MACD on the 15-minute is pointed to the upside. No, is above the zero line. The MACD on the hourly will cross back above the zero line, let's say 64.5, which isn't a million miles away from where price action is at the moment. It's basically back above this sort of area. And the reason that's significant is when the MACD crosses back to above the zero line, for me personally, that's momentum back to the upside. Excuse me. The 4 hour is quite far away from the zero line, and so I don't really pay attention to that number because it's less accurate the further away the MACD is from the zero line. But 70,000, it's a key area anyway, but that's a very long way away from price action at the moment. Although Bitcoin can do, what's that, $6,500 like that. I can do it in 5 minutes sometimes, but not in the last 6 weeks, unfortunately. Anyway, back to this. So back to the 15-minute. So downtrend, but low time frame momentum is certainly for more upside. And so when does this cease to be a downtrend? Hence confirming this more as a pullback following this move up. Well, I'm a big fan of the 50% rule. I don't even know if it is a rule. I'll have to research this 50% business. It's just an objective thing for me. But, 50% is pretty much where price action is at the moment. It did get down a bit below there. But all that means is that half of this move up was reclaimed on the downside move. And for me personally, for this to no longer look like a downtrend, I need to see two things. And you've heard me talk about this a lot. But trading really is a simple game. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Because I'm very proud to be a simple man. And so instead of having this, what you want to see to signal an end to this low time frame downtrend, let's use a highlighter for a change, would be something like this. So maybe a pull back down to the current low, and then a move up back above that sort of 64.5 pivot, a bit higher, a little retest to that area, and then a move up. So basically putting in a higher low, and then well, it would be first it would be a higher high, and then a higher low. And clearly then that I know it's obvious, right? I'm just spelling out some logical things that go through my mind when I'm looking at charts. So to change this from a downtrend to an uptrend, and therefore re-establish the not so low time frame as an upside time frame, this is what Bitcoin needs to do, and this is what it doesn't need to do. And you might think, well, why are you so biased to the upside, Simon? You're supposed to be an impartial trader, a trader who doesn't care about direction. Well, you're right. That's true. But the way overriding momentum within the market is still to the upside. And you saw that when I had the weekly chart on. So that's my bias. I mean, what your bias is up to you. But the higher time frame trend always trumps the lower time frame trend. So looking for upside moves from the bottom of this range when the weekly is still in a strong uptrend seems logical to me. Anyway, I've gone way over my time. I've burdened you with my voice for too long, so I apologise for that. I'm not apologising for the content. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as I said earlier, if you have, please like and subscribe. And if you haven't, don't like and subscribe, and don't come back tomorrow for maybe a tuneful Sunday. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. See you again. Bye-bye.